That never happened. You're remembering it wrong. And why are you so sensitive about something that didn't happen? Okay, guys, today we're going to be talking about gaslighting. And we're going to do it a little bit differently because there's so much gaslighting content out there already that we're going to treat this like a courtroom docket light version. And also, AI is going to help me narrate some of this because big words. All right, let's get started. Case file, gaslighting. Category, reality scene. A perfectly normal conversation that will quietly steal your brain's lunch money. And just so we're clear, today we're not putting a person on trial, we're putting a tactic on trial. Charge, reality manipulation. Weapon, plausible deniability. Victim impact, confusion, self-doubt, compliance. Court is now in session. Preliminary exhibit. You're in a meeting, nothing dramatic, a whiteboard, a sad corporate marker, someone's iced coffee sweating harder than the team. Boss. Let's move the deadline to Friday. You. Got it. Friday. 3 days later, you happen to miss Thursday's deadline because you're living in a world where Friday exists. Your boss looks concerned, not angry, concerned, like you're a delicate museum artifact. Boss, I said Thursday. You agreed to Thursday. You. No, you said. Boss, soft voice. Are you okay? You seem stressed lately. Now everyone is looking at you like you're the unstable one who needs a juice box and a nap. And here's the thing. You heard Friday. You know you heard Friday. But he's so calm, so reasonable. And now you're the one sweating through your shirt, trying to remember if you've been secretly being replaced by a malfunctioning robot. If your brain just glitched for a second trying to figure out who's right, good. That's the mechanism. Welcome to the case. The claim, what they want you to believe. Members of the jury, by the end of this episode, you're going to see how gaslighting works, like a legal strategy. Not because it's smart, but because it's just slippery enough to avoid consequences while still doing damage. The standard of proof here isn't one perfect smoking gun. It's a pattern. Let's get clear for a second. Gaslighting is not just someone lied to me. Lying is, I ate the cake. Gaslighting is, there was never any cake, and it's honestly concerning you accuse me of cake-related crimes. Gaslighting is installing an alternative reality inside your head, one where your memory is unreliable, your perceptions are suspect, and the person doing it somehow becomes a calm authority figure. The goal isn't to win an argument. The goal is to make you question whether you're qualified to have one. And it works because it stays just plausible enough. That's the design. If it were obvious, you leave. Instead, you stay and wonder if you're crazy. The opposite of gaslighting is what once I heard from an ex. He said, I don't remember that, but I believe you. That's what respect sounds like when memory is imperfect. Pop culture has turned gaslighting into a catch-all. Someone disagrees? Gaslighting. Someone forgets? Gaslighting. Someone has a different memory? Gaslighting. We're not doing that. We're doing forensics. In this episode, gaslighting means a repeated pattern of 1. Rewriting events. 2. Attacking your credibility for noticing. 3. Isolating you from reality checks. So you stop trusting your internal compass and start outsourcing truth to them. That sounds like a nightmare. They don't need to say I'm manipulating you. They only need to keep you in a fog where everything is arguable and nothing is provable. Today we're using a lens, the East German Stasi, the Ministry of State Security. not as a history lecture, but as a case study and a metaphor, because it's one of the closest real-world systems that matches part of what I've lived through. And no, your coworker isn't secret police. Relax. This is about how power uses ambiguity and deniability to destabilize trust. Gaslighting is something I know very well, experiencing this phenomena. I will say it's just as important as plausible deniability in this whole diabolical lived reality. 2 cross-examination questions to keep you in your pocket. Do you ever correct the record when it benefits you, or only when it benefits them? After you talk to them, do you feel clearer, or do you feel like your brain just got put in a blender and set to puree? The case file. 3 exhibits. Exhibit A. You told me you handled it. Them. No, I didn't. You said it Tuesday. Them. Now you're inventing days? That's not normal. What it does to the target. Psychological effect. It traps you in a loop. Replay, check, doubt. Replay, check, doubt. Your brain becomes its own hostile witness. You start evidence managing your life, keeping mental receipts, screenshots, tone reconstructions. You lose hours trying to prove something that should never need a courtroom. What is it for? Power outcome. Control of the record. If they control what happened, they control what you're allowed to feel, what you're allowed to ask for, and whether you're reasonable for reacting. Plausible deniability line. I honestly don't remember it that way. Maybe you misunderstood. Notice the move? They don't have to call you a liar. They just suggest you're confused. Confusion is softer than accusation. Way harder to fight. Reality check. One memory mismatch is human. The pattern is mismatch plus pressure plus punishment for insisting on reality. To the jury, let the record show that wasn't a misunderstanding. That was a move. Next exhibit. Exhibit B. The character attack. You're crazy / too sensitive. When facts don't work in their favor, they go after you. Not what you said, who you are. Example dialogue. You. That hurt. Please don't talk to me like that. Them. Whoa, here you go again. You. I'm asking for respect. Them. You're always asking for respect. It's exhausting. What this does to a target, psychological effect, it swaps the topic. The issue stops being what happened and becomes what's wrong with you. Now you're defending your sanity. You start policing your tone, your face, your breathing, trying to look calm enough to be treated like a person. This is where you start bargaining with yourself. Okay, I'll be calmer. Okay, I'll be nicer. Can relate to that one. Okay, I'll bring it up later. Okay, I'll stop bringing it up. Your needs get reduced to bad vibes. What is it for? The power outcome. Disqualification. You're too emotional to be rational. Your concerns don't count. They win by turning you into the problem. Plausible deniability line. I'm not saying you're crazy. I'm saying you're reacting really intensely. Translation. I'm not punching you. I'm just swinging my fist near your face. Forensics notes. Watch how fast they jump to your character. If the conversation always ends with you apologizing for having feelings, that's not conflict resolution, that's training. To the jury, let the record show that wasn't a misunderstanding, that was a move. Next exhibit. Exhibit C, the isolation play. Nobody else thinks that. I'm very familiar with this one. This is the kill shot. They make you believe you're alone. Example line dialogue. You. I talked to Sam and they agreed that was messed up. Them. Sam? Please. Sam just tells you what you want to hear. You. You think I'm being manipulated? Them. I think you're easily influenced. Or the workplace version. Them. I've talked to the team, and honestly, they all think you're overreacting. What this does to the target: psychological effect. Social reality collapses. If everyone disagrees with you, maybe you're wrong. You stop speaking up because you don't want to be the difficult one. I am very familiar with this. You stop documenting because you don't want to look obsessed. You stop asking for perspective because you don't want to sound dramatic. Closed loops are where gaslighting breeds. What is it for? Power outcome, dependency. If they isolate you from outside mirrors, they become the main mirror you look into. And mirrors can be, well, edited. Plausible deniability line. I just don't want you getting the wrong idea from other people. Which sounds protective, but is protective the way a lock cage is protective. Forensic note. Healthy people tolerate you having outside perspectives. Controllers treat outside perspective like contamination. The Stasi lens. Historical plus careful. The Stasi lens. History time. Kept tight because this is a case study, not a dissertation. The Stasi was the East Germany Ministry for State Security, a political secret police and intelligence apparatus built to protect the ruling system. In its own self-image, it was the shield and sword of the party. In 1989, around 91,000 people worked for it full-time. That's a huge payroll, honey. And the records list roughly 180,000 meter baiter. Okay, that sounded like something else, but anyways, unofficial collaborators embedded across society. The point isn't the math. The point is the vibe. Everyday life could feel like a room with hidden microphones. Why it matters for a metaphor. Systems of control don't always need obvious violence. Obvious violence creates headlines and resistance. Ambiguity creates self-doubt. Self-doubt creates compliance. Historical accounts show the MFS pushing into normal places, workplaces, universities, social circles, even families, through informants who reported without the people around them knowing. That uncertainty alone can wrap trust, and you don't even know what version of reality is safe to say out loud. One term that comes up in the historical record is zersetzen, often described as a method of covert disruption used against people of groups labeled hostile-negative. The stated goal in the MFS directive framework was to fragment, paralyze, disorganize, and isolate perceived opponents, often without the clean spectacle of a public arrest. And the documented examples are chillingly familiar in mechanics, if not scale. Systematic discrediting using a blend of true, verifiable negatives plus claims that are believable but hard to disprove. Engineering professional or social failures to undermine confidence. In groups, seeding mistrust, rivalry, suspicion, and turning people against each other. Now, are we saying your ex or your manager is running a state security operation? Of course not. We're saying the mechanics of reality manipulation scale. Number 1, create confusion. What's real? Number 2, isolate the target. Who can you trust? Number 3, maintain deniability. You can't prove it. Number 4, induce compliance. Stop resist. The blueprint works in a dictatorship. It also works in a relationship, a family system, a workplace. Anywhere someone benefits from you doubting yourself. And the reason this analogy hits so hard is because the core move is the same. Make the target look irrational for noticing rational things. One caution, because we're staying credible here. The Stasi lens is not a costume. It's a warning label. It shows how fast security can turn into control, and how control learns to hide behind paperwork, normality, and polite concern. The mechanisms. Nervous system, short and powerful. Let's make this biological. Your brain is a prediction machine. It loves patterns. When reality is stable, your nervous system doesn't have to spend energy on threat math. But the reality becomes when the reality becomes inconsistent, when someone keeps rewriting it, your system starts treating ambiguity like danger. Confusion, threat response, appeasement / Step 1. Confusion. Your mind throws a 404, reality not found. Attention narrows. You scan. You replay. You try to close the gap. Step 2. Threat response. Uncertainty spikes stress. Your body can't always tell the difference between I might be wrong and I might not be safe. Your heart rate changes. Muscles tighten. You fight, argue, flee, shut down, or freeze, blank, or fawn, apologize. Step 3. Appeasement / compliance. Gaslighting doesn't give you a clean enemy to fight or run from. It's slippery. So the nervous system often chooses fastest exit from uncertainty, surrender. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Do that enough times and doubt becomes a habit. That's why gaslighting works on smart people. Intelligence doesn't override a nervous system that hates uncertainty. Gaslighting targets the body first, the mind second. Expert witness. Consider this the expert testimony. When reality becomes unstable, the nervous system treats uncertainty like danger. So the body starts negotiating for safety, often by surrendering accuracy. That's not weakness, that's biology under pressure. The countermoves. Reality anchoring, non-escalating. Defense counsel. Now for the defense. Not defense as in defend yourself in the argument, although that will be fun. Defend as in keep your reality intact so you don't get dragged into the fog. These are reality anchoring statements. Short, calm, hard to twist. These aren't for winning, they are for keeping your internal compass online. Use calmly. The calmer you are, the more obvious the pattern becomes. Number 1, the record. I'm going to stick with what I remember. We can disagree, but I'm not rewriting my memory in real time. 2, the topic. I'm talking about what happened, not my personality. 3, the specifics. If I'm wrong, show me specifics. What exactly, when exactly. Number 4, the pause. I'm not continuing this while it's getting slippery. I'm taking a break. Number 5, the receipt. I'm going to write down what we decided so we don't argue about memory later. Number 6, the outside mirror. I'm going to sanity check this with a neutral third party. Exit line. Leave safely. I'm stepping away now. We can revisit this when it's respectful. 3 micro rules that make this work. Don't argue about your sanity, ever. Don't over-explain. Over-explaining is a trapdoor. Watch what happens when you stay calm. If calm boundaries trigger escalation, that's data. Brief disclaimer. This is an educational content, not a medical or legal advice. If you're in a situation that feels unsafe or abusive, consider reaching out to trusted support, local resources, or a professional who can help you plan safely. The verdict, 60 seconds. Here's the rule. Jury instructions. You're not deciding whether someone is good or bad. You're deciding whether the pattern is present. If the pattern is rewrite the record, attack the witness, isolate the target, then the verdict is this is gaslighting. One misunderstanding is human. A pattern where you're always wrong, always confused, always apologizing, and they're always calm, always right, always concerned about you, that's the sign. And plausible deniability isn't a bug, it's a feature. They need to stay just under the line. Obvious abuse is easy to label. Gaslighting keeps you stuck because it's always almost explainable. Here's the part that nobody tells you. You don't need a verdict to protect yourself. You don't need a judge to rule in your favor. You just need to stop betraying what you know. Authoritarian systems crack when people stop performing belief. When people say, I know what I saw. I know what happened. I'm done pretending I don't. Same goes for you. Until then, breathe, verify, document. Your memory isn't on trial. Your boundaries are.